With completely new cars, 2014 has been a turning point in the history of the World Touring Car Championship. Stronger engines, new aerodynamics and the arrival of rallying superstar Sébastien Loeb made it an unforgettable season, all of which we shall relive over the next hour. Well, rounds 1 and 2 were in Marrakech, and newcomer Citroën started the season in the best possible way with two cars on the front row, Lopez and Loeb. The start went smoothly with Lopez taking the lead into turn 1. Well, Serbian driver Dusan Borkovic making his debut in the WTC, driving a Chevrolet Cruze Contact with Thiago Monteiro. 6 laps into the race and former F1 driver Gianni Morbidelli, also a WTCC debutant, overtook Kovlevski for 12th. And towards the end of the race, local hero Mehdi Benani and the other rookie Hugo Valent overtook Michelisz for 8th and 9th into turn 6. And as the checker flag fell, it was 3 cars on the podium in the first race for Citroën. Lopez in front of Loeb and Müller. Our start of race 2 saw a massive crash between Tom Coronel Benani and Ivan Müller. Contact between Coronel, who started on pole, and Benani, who started second on the grid, results in carnage and notably the elimination of title defender Ivan Müller. In this different view, you will see how big the impact between Coronel and Müller was.
It felt to me like you keep pushing. That's how it felt to me.
Never. You can see it. And Tom, you are my friend. I never do it.
I know.
Come to see. I was crying because it's you.
Big misunderstanding.
I was like this and I release. You push. What I do?
Well, Benani hugging Coronel, and the reaction says it all. Well, here TARQUINI encouraging Benani, don't think about that start, it's not your fault, it's not your fault, it's Coronel's fault. And Benani saying he's his friend, he's a friend of mine. TARQUINI says, yes, but you don't give a damn, it's not your fault. You were inside, what could you do? You had the wall on the left, where'd you go? It's not your fault. Stern words from the Italian. Well, at the restart of the race, 9-time world champion Sébastien Loeb took second from Thiago Monteiro. And 1 lap later, Loeb took the lead from Benani. And that's what Loeb's Citroën crew thought of that move, as the Frenchman cleared off Jose Maria Lopez, the second of the unstoppable Citroëns, overtaking Thiago Monteiro for 2nd place. 8 laps into the race, and Hugo Valent then took 3rd from Thiago Monteiro. First win for Sébastien Loeb in the WTC in just his 2nd race. Definitely a debut weekend to remember for the Frenchman. That was a great moment, first event and first win. It was pretty unbelievable. Of course, I must say it was a city track where I felt at ease and Citroën were dominating the others so much that we were basically competing amongst ourselves. For sure, winning in the first event was great on one hand, but on the other hand, it put some more expectations on my shoulders for the following races because I was in contention for the title. I tried to keep that pace, but it has not always been easy. Round 3 took place at a wet Paul Ricard. Pole sitter Ivan Müller made a poor start, allowing 2009 WTCC World Champion Gabriele Tarquini to take the lead in front of Norbert Michelisz. However, at the end of the first lap, Ivan Müller was already back up to second, charging hard. And one lap later, the four-time WTCC World Champion caught and overtook Gabriele Tarquini for the lead of the race. Now 11 laps into the race, and Lopez, with plenty of determination, if that's what you can call it, took fourth from Norbert Michelisz. And Loeb was quickly up into contention after being made to start from the back of the grid due to a technical infringement during qualifying. Here overtaking Tarquini for second. Robert Huff also relished the wet conditions in the rather unfancied Lada, taking fifth on the penultimate lap. A strong return for the 2012 WTCC champion. After his unlucky crash in the second race in Marrakech, it was Müller who took his first win of the season, reducing his gap to the championship leader, Jose Maria Lopez. At the start of round 4, Thiago Monteiro started like a missile and took the lead from third on the grid. But could he hold off the super fast Citroëns? Starting from the back of the grid, Jose Maria Lopez was already up to sixth after the first lap and a half. Well, the Citroëns all together trying to move up the classification when it all went wrong for Loeb and Müller. At the last corner they tangle, both managing to continue. 6 laps into the race and Lopez took third from Bonani in his Honda Civic. 1 lap later and Gabriele Tarquini was Lopez's next victim, with Müller following Lopez's lead, demoting the Italian to fourth in no time at all. And Jose Maria Lopez completed a world-class drive, taking the lead from Thiago Monteiro on lap 14, and Müller was again to mirror his teammate, overtaking Monteiro soon after for second. Monteiro hung on to his third place and was left to rue what could have been without that safety car intervention.
It
was a surprise. It's like if I had played on PlayStation. But even on a computer game, you can play the game several times and still not win. I would have had to play it 15 or 20 times before winning it. But it was really a great race and I had the car to do so. The car was fantastic.
Una carrera fantástica y por supuesto el auto me permitió hacer eso también, ¿no? El auto era fantástico.
Well, as the Citroën celebrations rage, we're going to head for a short commercial break. In front of a large crowd, the WTCC visited the Hungaroring for round 5 of the 2014 season. And starting from pole, defending champion Ivan Müller, who took the lead into turn 1, while behind him, local hero Norbert Michelisz was up to 6th from 11th on the grid. James Thompson's 10th position was in danger at the beginning of the 8th lap. He is overtaken by his teammate and compatriot Rob Huff into turn 1, and moments later into turn 2 by Frenchman Hugo Valent. One lap later, the young Parisian driver overtakes Rob Huff, a position he would keep until the end of the race. Back at the front, it was going to be a second win of the season for Ivan Müller, but his teammate and championship leader is right behind him. Round 6 saw a great start from pole for Gianni Morbidelli, driving an RML prepared Chevrolet Cruze. A lead the Italian will keep until the last lap of the race. Well, even if the Citroens were clearly faster than all the other cars on this track, overtaking around the Hungaroring is a difficult task. Here Müller tries up the inside of the first corner to take 4th from Coronel, but then a Dutchman snatched the position straight back. After leading the whole race, Gianni Morbidelli was hanging on after a small mistake into turn 8 allowed Montero and Valent to do all they can to steal the lead away from the Italian. But it was Morbidelli who managed to close the door in the last few corners, grabbing his first WTCC win. Well, Müller finished 5th in front of Lopez, but the Argentinian kept the lead of the championship with a 10-point gap. However, the hero of the day was Morbidelli, the first non-Citroen driver to win a race in 2014. To check a flag was really liberating despite my 30-year career. I have to admit that winning races is always touching. The win in Budapest was really moving. All people always said that Morbidelli would not have been able to win races with a front-wheel drive. Therefore, this win was a reason to be proud and represented an important stage in my long career. Round 7 took place at the Slovakiaring in monsoon conditions. Ivan Müller missed the start completely. Sebastian Loeb taking the lead in front of Lopez and Michelisz. Well, for his drives, well, for his jump start, I should say, a drive-through penalty for Müller. Track conditions got worse lap by lap. Borkovic and Benani losing control of their cars because of the conditions, and even Ivan Müller could not keep his car facing the right way. And Borkovic's race went from bad to worse as he spun for the second time. Further back, Ivan Müller back to his usual self in the low grip conditions, overtaking Benani for 12th. But still, the rain came. It wasn't until some impressive aquaplaning for Hugo Valent The race director said enough was enough, and the race was suspended. For Sebastian Loeb, it was win number 2. The 9-time WRC champion now up to 2nd in the championship behind only Jose Maria Lopez. And for the second race, the weather got even worse. The FIA race director Miroslav Bartos had no option but to cancel the race. After his unlucky Slovakian weekend, Ivan Müller was not going to give up. This was clear at the Salzburg ring, and he set the pole on Saturday, and in the first race he firmly took the lead into the first corner. Lopez, who started 4th, was already up to 2nd by the end of the first lap. TARQUINI was battling hard behind, overtaking Michelisz for 8th into turn 5. And then a very unusual mistake from Lopez, heading straight on at the first chicane. Well, that was good news for Tom Coronel, who inherits an unsuspected 2nd place. Müller won, and in doing so, reducing the gap to Lopez in the championship. But the celebrations for the 4-time world champion didn't last long. Disaster at the start of the second race. As you can see from Thompson's perspective, Müller is squeezed on the left and onto the grass by his teammate Lopez. And by getting back on the tarmac, the Frenchman hit the 2 larders, generating a big accident. But luckily for all the drivers involved, they were okay. Tom Chilton's crew then suffered this curious mechanical failure, which ended his race. Five laps into the race, and Hugo Valente overtook Kozlowski for 9th, but the French driver would not finish the race. With Müller out of the race, Lopez had a precious opportunity to capitalise by stretching his lead in the championship. He was soon up to 3rd, overtaking Michelisz. The same corner 2 laps later, and the Argentinian ace took 2nd from Montero. And the mission was complete 2 laps before the end, when Lopez overtook Gabriele Tarquini for the lead. So Lopez won in front of the 2 factory team Honda Civics of Tarquini and Montero. Important points in the championship for the Argentinian, who stretched his lead to 41 over Müller. At the Moscow Raceway, Lopez took the lead, starting from pole in front of Tarquini, who was under heavy pressure from his teammate Montero. 7 laps into the race, and Tom Coronel overtook Michelisz with this amazing move. Müller then took full advantage of the superior power of his Citroën and overtook Chilton up the inside of turn 1 for 4th. Fourth win of the season for Lopez. Tarquini was second, Loeb third, Müller fourth. And he now has a 59-point deficit from Lopez in the overall standings. Round 12 saw Lopez with a broken gear linkage at the start. He retired while Valent took the lead in front of Michelisz and Marc. Müller got hit from behind by Venani and rejoined only in 9th. Well, the battle for 4th was really spectacular with Benani, Tarquini, Montero and Chilton, the latter being pushed from behind all the way by Müller. Chilton unceremoniously dumped off the circuit. And then we see Müller overtaking 3 Hondas at the same time. First Tarquini, who goes wide into the first corner. Then Benani, I should say, into the inside of turn 1, and finally Montero up the inside into turn 2. A very good manoeuvre from the Frenchman. Well, it was disaster for race leader Hugo Valent. He got a drive-through penalty because his car was not resting on its wheels at the 5-minute board before the start. 8 laps into the race and Müller took second from Michelisz. Up the inside into the last corner. Michelisz running in third. Lost control of his Civic into turn 10 and is overtaken by Benani and then by Coronel after this minor contact. At the checker flag, it was Ma who won, while Müller is second despite that difficult start. The battle for 5th is very tight at the very end, with Loeb and Chilton overtaking Michelisz for 5th and 6th in the last corner. For Ma, this was a real historic moment. Not only did he win his first WTCC race and his first in the championship, but he also becomes the first Chinese driver to win an FIA World Championship event.
From Russian Automobile Federation presented the trophy for the winning manufacturing.
Round 13 saw Ivan Müller start from pole position and take lead into turn 1. First race in Spa. The battle for second between Lopez and Loeb really was the feature of this race. So Lopez overtook the Frenchman up the inside into turn 18, but not for long because Loeb retook his position up the inside of La Source. But on the last lap, Sebastian Loeb could not resist any longer. The pressure from Jose Maria Lopez told, and this time Lopez took the position. And that was to be the making of another 1, 2, 3 for Citroën in front of the CEO, Frederik van Zee. Best of the rest, Morbidelli in 4th ahead of Coronel and Montero. Round 14 saw a great start from Tom Coronel from 3rd place. And he took the lead in front of Morbidelli into turn 1. So starting 8th, Lopez already up to 3rd after 3 laps, and he overtook Morbidelli into the last chicane. Exactly 1 lap later, and Lopez's favourite overtaking place saw him pass Thiago Montero for 2nd place. Müller and Loeb tried to keep up with the flying Argentine. Müller here overtaking Morbidelli for 4th, and immediately behind Loeb overtaking Michelisz for 6th. Once again, Lopez is unstoppable. 2 laps to go. He overtook Coronel for the lead with this fantastic move at Eau Rouge. Well, slightly further back, and Ivan Müller was on the move, overtaking Thiago Montero for 3rd. Well, the Frenchman set his sights on Tom Coronel and stuck it up the inside into the last chicane. But with no time to catch Jose Maria Lopez, the Argentine grabbed his 6th win of the season. Round 15 saw an Argentinian on pole in Argentina. It was Jose Maria Lopez again who took the lead into turn 1 in front of Michelisz, who had a terrific start from 4th place. Right after struggling at the start, Sebastian Loeb took 4th from Montero by the end of the 1st lap, and with some door-to-door action with this move into turn 9. Well, for Lopez, it was win number 7, with Müller only 3rd, some additional points to reinforce the Argentinians' lead in the championship. Round 16 saw Rob Huff start from pole position in his Lada. He took the lead into turn 1 in front of Benani, while Valent, 2nd on the grid, dropped all the way down to 5th, with Thiago Montero and Tarquini slipping through into turn 1. While Müller and Loeb battled closely together, Lopez surprised the pair of them with an extraordinary move. First he passes Loeb, who went wide, and then Michelisz and Müller at the same time. That must be home advantage for you. Well, Benani can't resist the pace of the 2 Hondas, and it's overtaken first by Tarquini and then by Montero for 3rd. 6 laps into the race, and Lopez overtakes Montero for 3rd on the back straight. And at the end of the same lap, Lopez overtook Tarquini, who went wide at turn 13. Well, the battle between the two former teammates, Muller and Chilton, was spectacular, with the two cars side by side for vast majorities of the race. At the end, it was Ivan Muller who managed to get the 5th position. With the Citroën engine being much more powerful than the Lada's, nobody was surprised when Lopez overtook Huff for the lead. On board with Jose Maria Lopez, breezing straight past the Lada of Rob Huff. And 2 huge cheers in the grandstand. For Lopez, it was the perfect weekend with 2 poles and 2 wins. It was also a historic moment for Lada, who took their first WTCC podium.
If you ask anyone in the team, no one believed that we could achieve the P2 in the race, especially lead for the first 9 laps. I've never seen P2 celebrated so much, but I genuinely have to say, for me, it was one of the most rewarding race results I've ever had, because to walk back in the garage and see the faces on the guys and girls in the team was emotional. It really was. It was something very special.
With a 60-point advantage over Ivan Muller and only 4 events to the end of the season, Lopez has one hand on the title. Round 17 and 18 held in Beijing, China. Tom Chilton grabbed an unsuspected pole position, a tight and twisty track that suited the Chevrolet Cruze and the British driver. Well, big crash between Borkovic and Munich. That brought out the safety car, made life a bit harder for Tom Chilton. Further back, Marquin Quia had a terrible qualifying, only 14th. But he battled through to take 8th from Thompson, but he had to retire after going off track and hitting a tyre stack. Gabriele Tarquini was also in the pits. But it was the first win of 2014 for Chilton. Muller 2nd and Lopez 3rd. As in Argentina, Huff started from pole in the 2nd race, and the Briton took the lead in front of Coronel Loeb and Michelisz. Well, even on a track where overtaking is notoriously hard, Lopez managed to pass some of his rivals, taking 5th from Thompson with a nice move at the last corner. Next up, he took 4th from Michelisz. And it was turn 8 for the Argentinian. Well, Montero and Ma, even if it was for no points, having an animated race. And their nice little battle for 12th. It was the Chinese driver that took the spoils for that position. And probably the most surprising win of the season. It was Rob Huff and his favourable Lada crew. Coronel and Loeb rounding up the rostrum.
We got to that point of the season where we're just expecting Citroen, and to kick them completely out of it for the weekend, brilliant. They didn't even get a look in, which was mega. You know, first time that they've not won a race all weekend, on any weekend, and not completely monstered everyone. So to sort of throw it back at them, no matter what the circuit, what the conditions, or anything like that, we both genuinely won races on our own pace.
So no wins for Citroen in China. Rounds 19 and 20 in Shanghai. And after setting the 5th pole position of the season, Lopez took the lead of the first race in Shanghai into turn 1 in front of Ma and Müller. Once again, Loeb hadn't had the perfect start and lost positions early on, retaking 6th from Montero. Once on the start and finish straight, Loeb uses all the power of his engine to overtake Tarquini for 5th around the outside of turn 1. Two laps later, the 9-time rally champion took 4th from Michelisz with this move at the end of the back straight. And that made it a 1-2-3-4 for Citroen, with Lopez in front of Ma, Müller and Loeb. A result which gave them the manufacturer's title with still 5 races before the end of the championship. And that is a really impressive performance for a manufacturer which only debuted in the WTCC this year. Well, for Lopez, it was win number 8, and that driver's title getting ever closer. Well, for round 20, saw Bernani starting from pole position, and he took the lead into the first corner in front of Tarquini, Montero and Valent. Well, the battles raged within the Citroen family. Side-by-side action from Loeb and Müller, with the latter grabbing 5th from the former rally champion. Right behind, Lopez getting in on the action, taking 7th from Michelisz. It was that move that definitely brought an end to the title hopes of Ivan Müller. And that is the move I'm talking about. Loeb straight into the side of the Frenchman. Broken right rear suspension and another DNF for the 4-time WTCC champion. Fifth lap, and while Lopez is overtaking Valent for 4th, Tarquini slows down and retired because of a technical failure. For Lopez, an additional position for him in the overall classification. Same place, and 2 laps later, Valent is overtaken by Loeb for 5th, with Ma behind, outbraking himself and going wide into turn 14. The Hondas seem to perform pretty well, and this is Michelisz taking 6th from Valent into up the inside of turn 11. Valent then outbraked himself into turn 14 and is overtaken by Chilton for 8th. And that is the first win of the season for Honda, first win for Banani in the WTCC, and first win for a Moroccan driver in an FIA World Championship.
Les deux derniers tours, pour moi, c'était malheureusement, je me voyais déjà dans les paddocks, les stands, parce que j'ai eu une vibration.
Well, during the last 2 laps, I thought my races would have been anticipated because I started to suffer a huge vibration on my steering, so strong that I was struggling to breathe. And I said to myself, what a pity to lose a race with just 2 laps remaining and some seconds on Thiago Monteiro in second. But luckily I lost only some tenths of a second and managed to keep the lead. In the last 2 corners, I said to myself, no matter what, you have to get to the finish, even with the car sliding. You just have to. Sixth pole position of the season for championship leader Jose Maria Lopez at Suzuka. He took the lead into the first corner in front of Muller, Chilton and Valent. Lap 7 saw Ivan Muller have a puncture. The defending champion retired. No chance anymore for him to close the gap on the championship leader Lopez. So leading the race was Jose Maria Lopez. And he was about to grab his first world title with 2 races to go. After a very tight battle for second, Hugo Valent, a small mistake into turn 12, and that gave Chilton the advantage. But it was Jose Maria Lopez who triumphed, bringing back an FIA World title to Argentina 57 years after Fangio. Citroën celebrated the Cordova Aces win with a special t-shirt with the number 37 and the colours of the Argentinian national football team. Round 22, and it was the likeable Gabriele Tarquini who started from pole, and he took the lead into the first corner in front of Borkovic, Michelisz, Coronel and Valent. Sizable contact between Ivan Muller and Hugo Valent at the hairpin. Valent trying to defend his 5th place and was forced into retirement. I think quite rightfully so. Ivan Muller reprimanded soon after this move. Jose Maria Lopez showing us how it should be done with this move on Sebastian Loeb for 6th place. Finally, out front, the first win of the season for the Honda factory team at home in Japan, with Tarquini finishing 1st in front of Borkovic and Michelisz. Traditional season finale in Macau. Once again, it was Lopez who started from pole position. The Argentinian took the lead while Loeb, 2nd on the grid, overtaken quickly by Michelisz. Even Muller had a poor start. into Lisboa. Montero took 5th from Muller. And at Mandarin, the fastest corner on the circuit. Ivan Muller behind Montero and Tarquini, showing us just how quick this circuit really is. Well, it's bad luck for Mehdi Benani, who retired after contact with Henry Kwong at the exit of the last corner. The Hong Kong driver was excluded from the race by the FIA. No such dramas for Jose Maria Lopez. Win number 10 of the season. Michelisz following him home in 2nd. Tarquini was 3rd. No one ever dominated a WTCC season like the Argentinian did in 2014. A real master at work. That was a great start in the 2nd race for Thiago Monteiro, who took the lead into the 1st corner from 4th on the grid. Into Lisboa, Hugo Valente outbraked himself and is overtaken by Huff, Muller and Michelisz. Gianni Morbidelli was the first to hit the wall. This crash at Fisherman's Bend saw his race ended on the spot. Up the inside into Lisboa corner, Loeb took 7th from Chilton, and immediately behind Marr took 9th from Coronel. But moments later, Coronel retook that position from the Chinese into San Francisco. Marr's race came to an abrupt end when he crashed at Arbend. Cruel luck for our race leader. Thiago Monteiro suffered steering failure with 1 lap to go. The Portuguese is overtaken by pretty much all the field. Well, it was Rob Huff who became the new leader, with Ivan Muller close to his coattails. But it was to be a remarkable 2nd win of the season for Rob Huff, and the 7th win for him on the streets of Macau out of 20 races that he has completed here. For Lada, a great way to celebrate the last race of the year. It definitely wasn't the fastest car and will be replaced by the brand new Vesta next year. And this is how the final classification looks like. Lopez on top with an amazing 126-point gap over 2nd placed Ivan Muller. No doubt this was a fantastic season, an unbelievable season, the best season in my sporting career. The ingredients, some more experience, some more serenity, but at the same time trying to keep the same aggressive style to be in front. And of course the addition of a great team which did a great job. This year Pachito has been the best in the history of touring cars so far. I've never been so regular, even in the championships. I won, I had some ups and downs, but this year my level has always been very high throughout the season.
Haya sido lo mejor, lo más completo. Nunca logré un campeonato tan regular. Siempre de los campeonatos que gané tuve mis altos y bajos, y creo que este año fue siempre muy alto mi nivel.
So with 2 wins, how does a 9-time World Rally Champion consider his season to have been?
du plaisir dans ce que je fais. C'est vrai que je découvre quelque chose de complètement différent. Je savais que ça serait différent.
I enjoy what I do. I learn something that is completely different. I knew that it was different, but now I realize how much different it is. There are differences in the preparation of the races. The approach has nothing to do with what I used to in rallying. In rallying, I used to do a recce, then working on the notes, and all the rest was just feeling. While here, you work a lot on optimizing the driving, the trajectories, the braking. It's a completely different way to do things. Well, that's it for 2014, but 2015 not long away. Argentina scheduled for the beginning of March. Well, until then, it's a goodbye.